Ukrainian Army fire HIMARS 200mm missile destroying Russian supply lines in Kherson region. Since June, the United States has given the Ukrainian military 20 high-mobility artillery rocket system launchers, also known as HIMARS, and a sizable stock of satellite-guided rockets with a nearly 50-mile range. These guided multiple-launch rocket systems, also known as GMLRS, have been employed to attack Russian command posts, logistics hubs, and munitions storage facilities on Ukrainian territory. The U.S. has not provided Ukraine with long-range Army tactical missile system rockets, or ATACMS missiles, which have a range of approximately 200 miles. The report said that the modified HIMARS would prevent Ukrainian forces from launching ATACMS if obtained from another source. The previously unknown modifications reflect concerns among administration officials that their Ukrainian partner would stop upholding its pledge not to attack Russian territory with U.S.-supplied weapons. The modification also highlights the extent to which the Biden administration has gone to strike a balance between its backing for the Ukrainian military and possible escalation with Moscow. HIMARS has proven to be quite valuable in recapturing territory that the Russians had previously seized. According to a report by the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, HIMARS was critical for the Ukrainian military in thwarting Russian supply lines during the takeover of Kherson. U.S. officials have previously stated that military assistance to Ukraine is for self-defense, not for launching attacks on Russia. Crimea and other Ukrainian territories that Russia has captured and claimed would also be considered legitimate targets. Therefore, even with those restrictions, Ukraine has shown interest in acquiring ATACMS, among other things, presumably to aid in expanding its capacity to target Russian forces far behind the front lines. In September, Maria Zakharova, a spokesperson for the Russian Foreign Ministry, said that such a supply by the U.S. would be crossing a red line and turn the U.S. into an active participant in the war. It's unclear what exactly was modified before the HIMARS were shipped to Ukraine from the United States. One explanation, according to experts, is that the launchers merely use a modified version of the software for the standard system that lacks the capabilities required to run ATACMS. There could be slight physical modifications to stop the missiles from being loaded or functioning properly. Nevertheless, it is unclear what changes were made or how simple it would be to undo them should American policies about transferring ATACMS to Ukraine shift in the future. The Wall Street Journal report raises the possibility that alternative modifications were made to HIMARS rockets to restrict their functionality. For instance, it may be conceivable to incorporate a geofencing feature into the system's software that would prohibit it from receiving target coordinates for sites in Russia, even while using M30/M31 series rockets. Besides that, the HIMARS launcher modifications eliminated the potential of Ukraine utilizing ATACMS even if it receives missiles from a third party, considering that the U.S. government does not appear willing to transfer ATACMS to Ukraine directly. The military forces of Bahrain, Greece, Poland, Qatar, Romania, South Korea, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates use ATACMS variants outside the United States. Naturally, if carried out properly, any such third-party transfer would still need to be approved by American authorities. Besides, there might be a technological security reason why the U.S. administration is reluctant to give Ukraine ATACMS. Newer iterations of the ATACMS family are still in use by American forces, including those forward deployed. Media had earlier reported that the U.S. plans to send ground-launched small-diameter bombs to Ukraine. Developed by Boeing and the Swedish company Saab, GLSDB can be launched from HIMARS and MLRS launchers. It has a maximum range similar to the ATACMS of about 94 miles, 150 kilometers. Since Russia massed forces to invade Ukraine in February, the U.S. has gradually expanded the types of weapons it has been willing to provide to Kyiv beyond the shoulder-fired Javelin anti-tank missiles Ukraine first received during the Trump administration. Russia has repeatedly warned the Biden administration it risked escalating the level of Moscow's response if it armed Ukraine with weapons capable of reaching Russia. When reports that HIMARS launchers could be sent to Ukraine in May, Olga Skabieva, known as one of Putin's chief propagandists, took to the airwaves to issue a warning. She said on state TV, "If the Americans do that, they'll clearly be crossing a red line. We'll have witnessed an attempt to provoke a very harsh response from Russia." Kyiv said Russia destroyed homes in the southeast and knocked out power in many areas with a fresh volley of missiles. At the same time, Moscow said Ukrainian drones were to blame for explosions at 2 air bases deep inside Russia, hundreds of miles from front lines. The Russian Defense Ministry said the attacks killed 3 servicemen, wounded 4, and damaged 2 aircraft. One of the targets, the Engels Air Base about 100 miles from Moscow, is home to bomber planes of Russia's strategic nuclear forces. Meanwhile, the strikes in Ukraine came just as blackouts were ending, plunging parts of the country back into darkness with temperatures now well below freezing. However, Kyiv said its air defenses had shot down most of the missiles. White House spokesman John Kirby condemned the latest attacks. "That's just another example of the brutality here that Putin continues to visit upon the Ukrainian people," he said.